Alright folks, welcome back to the RedBull ECL 2013 group stage play in Group D, our first series of the day, and indeed our first actually completed series of the group between OguraYui and wHut. And so far, I am perhaps duly or unduly excited because in Group C we did not have a single series actually go the full 3 games, but here we will go the full 3 games. wHut with a huge comeback in Game 1, OguraYui holding on and out-farming and outplaying wHut in Game 2. And here we go to Game 3. This is Beyond the Summit 2, your casters today. I am Vikramon. My co-caster is El Presidente. El Pres, how you doing?
Tired, actually. Now that we're reaching 4 a.m. and I'm reaching like 19 hours of being awake, very tired. But I will muscle through this one, and then I will be replaced by somebody, I swear.
Yes. Go to bed after this. I implore you. But thank you for coming along, because honestly, I love this series. I'm really, really happy. We had a great Game 1. Game 2 a little less close, but still could have tipped either way. And I don't know who I favor for Game 3. Do you favor anybody?
Nah, I can't really say I favor either team. We did see that wHut was phenomenal at playing from behind, but it's hard to say. I feel like they might be changing up roles too often. That definitely hurt their Game 2 performance. But Ogura just really showing off that DreamyU can really farm when you give her the space to do so, and I think that's what it's really going to come down to. Again, I feel like both teams are more acquainted with a traditional style of play.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know who would win if they both decide to go protect, like 4 protect 1, farm it up type strategies here.
Yeah, I agree. I do think that the complete shuffle of roles in Game 2, I completely agree with you. It couldn't but hurt the cohesion that they had in Game 1. Maybe they return to that. I mean, maybe their lineup in Game 2 was more standard for them. We don't know that much about these teams, unfortunately. I think that's one great thing about the ECL is that it is giving us exposure to all these, Tier 2, Tier 3 Chinese teams. Really see who some of the rising stars are. But of course, Rising Stars has already advanced from Group C, so...
Man, too many Chinese teams sometimes. But nah, definitely. When you look at Group D, though, there's already the severe favorite, and I think it's going to come down to who takes second.
I agree, and that's been the case in just about every group other than Group C, which of course had basically 2 favorites. We did have 4Love in this group. I think they would have been at least slightly favored to take second behind Rattlesnake, but they have actually dropped out of the tournament. I don't know if everybody has sort of heard, but there's some questions as to whether 4Love will actually continue as a team or whether they're going to disband or just make roster changes. They've certainly, Hanse, one of pretty much their star players, I think you were talking about earlier, Alprez, he actually left, and so they have definitely left the ECL. Their spot has been taken by MX, a team that I'm not tremendously familiar with, and they didn't show up for their game today, so I remain unfamiliar with them, but hopefully later on in the week we'll get to check out what they have to offer.
Yeah, it is a shame for 4Love. They have participated quite well in previous tournaments. It's just that their recent track record has not nearly been as strong. But wHut do ban out that Queen of Pain, not willing to deal with it a second game in a row. And I don't blame them.
Yeah, 14-2, was that the record in the end?
Yeah, it was like 14-2 and like 13. It was devastating how much damage it was getting done.
I think it's not so much about I like this Queen of Pain ban, but I also think it's just a matter of, Spectre. So yeah, that Visage, earlier on they took the Visage, and then you saw the Spectre ban. Here we actually see these 2 heroes in action, where Visage actually bolsters Spectre's lane presence considerably. She can deal decent damage if somebody gets caught in that Desolate, and you max the Desolate fairly early. And then the combination of that and Soul Assumption is pretty much a tremendous amount of damage that can be dealt to somebody. I was going to say, I think that the thing, other than just banning the Queen of Pain, they just have to delegate more resourcing in general to shutting down Zex Bingo early. Because I feel that last game they sort of just allowed him to really just take over the game in every respect, including the lane and then team fights, small engagements. Queen of Pain was everywhere.
Yeah, Jakiro's going to make his way into the 3rd game in a row here. I really like the Spectre pick, and I do think she's incredibly underestimated even in pub matches, and I think it's in large part because of how in pubs they tend to build her. Desolate OP.
Radiance Rush.
Oh, that too, but
Oh
Desolate
yeah,
OP.
yes, definitely. Desolate has revealed itself as very, very strong in every level of play.
It's 60 pure damage, and when you get to the late game with the Desolate and your Diffusal Blade, the amount of your illusions will destroy supports.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean, absolutely. You can just tear through something like a Rubik, and he has almost no recourse. He's a low HP hero. He's got magic resistance, but that doesn't matter against pure.
but yeah, Spectre is heavily underestimated in that, and I do feel like again, this is very traditional hero.
Sure.
Like this is like traditional like Dota 1 Spectre hard carry hero.
Yeah, or TI1 for that matter.
Yeah, but that's like when there were only 3 carries. You picked
Yes.
Faceless Void, Anti-Mage, Spectre.
Morph was in, I think. I
But I don't think
remember
Morph
in
was really
some.
popular back then.
He was in some big TI1, some of the longest TI1 games who involved Morph constantly moving to his replicate. But that was a long, long time ago. And I mean, I think even Doombringer, people use Doombringer as a hard carry solely due to the lack of actual carries available. And we've opened up the draft a little bit. Ogura taking up the Phantom Lancer, a hero that we see less often, but when it seems like it's quality over quantity now. There was a period in which Phantom Lancer was picked all the time, and everybody was like, oh, this hero is ridiculously overpowered, but his win rate was actually nothing special. Now he's picked far less often, but he actually has a better win rate.
Yeah, I think it came down to the fact that Phantom Lancer is not impossible to deal with. He's actually very manageable given the right hero composition. That's it. What do not have the right hero composition at all. They don't actually have any major sources of AoE damage to handle the Phantom Lancer. And Phantom Lancer is just going to kind of overrun Visage and Silencer in particular, because neither of them have very strong escaping mechanisms.
Right. This is definitely a stand your ground type tri lane. If you try to fight us, we will just stay in and kill you because we have no other choice. Spectre, I mean, she can Spectral Dagger into the woods. That's about the only thing.
Yeah, for what I do feel like the Silencer is going to be more likely put into a solo mid position, though. And I say that because they really need to pick up someone to counter this Phantom Lancer.
Sure.
And I feel Earthshaker might be their best recourse for this.
That's a good point. He did receive a huge buff. The only question is the laning. Does that position Silencer in the role of having to be solo mid then? And then the Earthshaker as a side lane support?
Yeah, it would, but I think Silencer is actually very suited to a solo mid. He does have the orb blocking capabilities as well as some strong lane harassing options. But instead, it's a Magnus.
Okay. We see Magnus far less often these days. Of course, he received direct nerfs and indirect nerfs, but they were lacking some sort of big teamfight spell, and Magnus actually does provide that.
I do agree he does provide the teamfight spell, but I don't think there's really going to be enough AoE damage to take care of Phantom Lancers. We've seen professional players buy 2 Battle Furies and not have enough AoE damage to just take care of 1 Phantom Lancer army. And I feel like wHut have to be prepared for that. And the problem is I don't think they can really drag it out to when Spectre is going to be the most successful, the ultra late game. But I don't think they have enough damage to win the mid and early game.
That will be the question. I mean, Silencer can, even from the support position, Silencer can sometimes get out of control. And if 365 is able to pull out a Chuan-like performance on the Silencer, I mean, we could see them having the damage. I mean, early game, I think they actually have more damage, simply because Soul Assumption will come through, Silencer does good damage, and I agree that you enter like a long, dark mid-game in which PL will probably be out farming Spectre, PL just fundamentally dealing a little more early damage than Spectre, even if she goes for a early game efficient build, phase boots drums or what have you. And TA, of course, that gives Ogura definitely doubling down on the damage, as well as giving Zex Bingo another opportunity to dominate a game. TA, a hero that can absolutely be like Queen of Pain and just take over. And who are they actually sending up? In fact, let's introduce the teams. wHut? They won the first game, they kind of weren't able to do too much in the second, and I think they have a clear shot. In fact, this is the closest series I've observed so far in the ECL. I'm excited to see how it plays out. Running 290 on the clockwork in the middle. 1, 2, 3 on the off-lane Magnus looks to be. Interesting. And then 3, 6, 5 on the support silencer, ZZZ on the hard farming Spectre with one of my favorite cosmetic sets in the game. It's just subtle but also really nice for the Spectre set. And YZB going back to support after an unsuccessful mid-game as the Visage 1, 2, 3 already in a bit of trouble. They try to high ground him. Not successful. He does get the rune as well. He has Skewer, and Ice Path not latching means that Magnus is safe to walk away. That said, how much farm do you think Magnus will actually be able to get in this lane?
Some. That's what I'll have to say. He's going to get some. The problem is he's probably not going to bottle crow that much, given his lane position, and that's really going to be the only way he's going to get anything here. But he will get some. Like, that's not going to be a question.
But Rubik and Jakiro can do a lot of zoning as well, unfortunately. And if Jakiro triggers you to try to use your skewer and Rubik lifts you in response, that can be troublesome. Do you want to go ahead and introduce Ogura?
Yeah, we should probably introduce Ogura. Ogura is going to have DreamyU taking up that Phantom Lancer on the bottom lane with support Will on the Rubik, with Shauna taking that Jakiro for another match. We're going to see Vex Bingo taking up the Templar Assassin in the mid lane. And this is, honestly, I think the lane slightly favors TA, although 290 can cause a little bit of a nightmare for him using the power cogs. Yeah. And up on the top lane, we're going to see solo YSY playing that Darkseer for the third game in a row.
Yeah, he really likes the Darkseer. In the first game, I actually felt that he kind of hit a brick wall. Like, he was developing, he was actually farming extremely well for a Darkseer, but he really couldn't get much done. The second game, it really ended before he had a chance to show his skills. So this guy clearly favors Darkseer, or at least the team favors him, and we're yet to see sort of a display of his full talents. I'm looking forward to it this game.
Yeah, and I do feel like in this particular game, the Darkseer is going to be a little bit more successful, mostly because Spectre is very illusion-oriented, so the wall is actually going to have a slightly larger effect because of that.
That's
Generally,
true.
you do see Spectres building items that affect illusions as well as herself because of the nature of Haunt.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. The fact is that the Darkseer could make a huge difference in a way that he wasn't able to against other carries by generating those illusions, so that's a good point. wHut just trying to get some levels here. They want that early, like 3 is a good breakpoint for Visage, as is 5. Basically, any time that you're leveling Soul Assumption, you're happy, and any time that you're not, you're less happy. Although Familiars are quite good too. And the other task is just to keep Darkseer off the lane, and so far they've done a fantastic job. I'm surprised that after all this harassment, Darkseer hasn't decided to just go off towards the jungle, because this is still only 62 XP here. He's not really... Well, that's 62 more XP than the Magnus has been able to get, so that's something.
Yeah, it's just... I said some. I was wrong. He's going to get none.
It was such a conservative estimate, and it was still overly liberal.
Like, he's going to get some. Like, he's going to get Shockwave at some point, and he's going to get some last hits. But no, he's never going to get Shockwave. He's going to be stuck on level 1 skewer for the next 10 minutes, and he's going to get none.
Yeah, maybe they could rotate him into jungle and do some tandem jungling with the supports. Honestly,
well, that's actually a really cheeky Magnus thing that you can do with Empower, where you like put Magnus up here and you just farm these camps from the high ground.
Can you actually hit them from the high ground? Melee?
Yeah, you actually can hit them from the high ground with Mag.
That's funny. Problem. He needs to hit level 2 for that to work.
Yeah, it's also really cheeky, and if someone decides to move in there and steal a stack, there's not much you can do about it.
Certainly.
It's like...
Sorry, go ahead.
I don't know, there was like this weird video where it's like if you stand on the very edge here on the top ground, you can hit them. If you like back up, they start running around in circles and they stack. It's really weird.
In the general manner of those YouTube jungling videos that are incredibly impractical, and actually if anybody tries them in a game, you just get mad because more often than not, it makes you lose. But they may have to resort to some desperate measures. I mean, 1, 2, 3, he now has 1 creep's worth of XP, and I think Ogura want to deliver the death blow to this Magnus. Just say, goodbye, Magnus. Will rotating around, he's on the Rubik, they see him. Spirit Lance Telekinesis coming right through, puts him back into the Ice Path. Actually, as it expires, the Dual Breath comes out, they got 1 more Spirit Lance available. people, yes, they mop it up, and this time Will can't secure the kill even if he wanted to. wHut picks it up on this Phantom Lancer. She's got 1,200 gold on top of her Tranquil Boots, and she's feeling very good. Meanwhile, 390 uses his Wizard. Here he comes. This could actually be an opportunity for 123 to get on the board. Of course, he only has the Skewer. Where is the Cogs? Battery Assault coming through. Already some damage onto Shauna. Maybe just the Battery Assault is enough. Yes, a kill for Clockwork. I think Magnus participated. He got the assist. That'll be a little XP. Actually takes him all the way to level 3. That is a much-needed jolt of life into the Magnus. He was on life support.
Well, he still has almost none. He only has like 2 last hits now, but at least he now has some levels. And with the Shockwave, now he can get some.
Yeah.
But it's going to be tough just because Phantom Lancer is just such a nightmare to lane against.
365 tries to come in here, and unfortunately Zex Bingo calls his bluff. A silencer? A solo silencer? Get that out of my sight, especially at level 3. I mean, Zex Bingo now almost level 7. Clockwork, of course, did that rotation. Not that the rotation wasn't critical. I feel it absolutely was. But it does put him a little bit behind on XP.
Yeah, it's going to put him a little bit behind. That's what happens when you leave lane. But, oh, okay. No, Zex Bingo's going to take a dive here.
Oh, actually, yes. They are fighting right under the tower. Unfortunately, this favors Zex Bingo. And yes, one more hit maybe will do it. Nice, Cogs. 290 walking away from a fight he had no business walking away from. Last word, will it get the kill? It's only level 2. I don't think it actually kills Zex Bingo here. 28 HP. Oh, that's a bitterly disappointing position for wHut. If only they had been able to get that kill. Still in okay shape, but that's definitely sad.
He was barely saved by his, like, 4 magical stick charges.
Right. Yeah, that's true. Barely.
Those were the 4 that he got in that fight. He got 1 for last word, he got 1 for Cogs, he got 1 for battery assault.
Right.
And that's what he lived by.
To be fair, he would have lived with 3.
That was 3.
Oh, was it?
I don't know where the other one came from, but he ended up just barely living with all of that.
Right.
But yeah, this lane's a nightmare now because he's not getting any mana. Cogs is incredibly mana efficient for draining opponents' mana.
It is. Even if you land 1 Cog, you've drained 30 more mana than you've spent. And if you land, God forbid you land 2 Cogs, then you're way ahead in terms of the mana. And
God
TA
forbid
just
you
forced
trap them and walk out.
Right, exactly. I mean, TA just will be forced to Crow, and it won't even be enough mana with the Crow. Meanwhile, a war developing over the wards here. Ogura looks to take the advantage here. In fact, is YZB overly? No! ZZZ comes in already, the Rubik on the ground. This Spectre may have just turned this fight completely. The Skewer in, and Phantom Lancer walks away, but that's it. Very nice haunt coming off from the Spectre, and that's 2 kills, a double kill for Visage Spectre, actually. What the hell, my friend?
Yeah, she used the special dagger to get, like, cheekily through the trees and then got stuck.
That's sad.
Yeah, it is. It is kind of sad. I hope there's a TP scroll coming in.
That was a big deal for wHut, I still feel like.
Oh no, absolutely. And this is, again, the reason why Spectre was ever played.
Right.
Right? Her advantage isn't that she farm walls. No, she is actually one of the worst farming carries in the game. Right? The only way she farms better is by throwing her dagger at it, and that's so mana inefficient, it's sad. No, the reason why she's a special carry is that she's the only carry in the game that can spend the entire game farming and still show up to team fights no matter where they are.
Sure. That haunt is a very powerful tool, and we saw it in action just now. What do you think of the Spectral Dagger maxing first? Oh, they miss a hookshot, unfortunately. If they had landed that on TA, I think I could have seen wHut even take a couple more kills, but...
Anyways, about Spectral Dagger, if you're not going to max Desolate first, Spectral Dagger is definitely the best second option, just because the movement speed change is a very big deal. It's what makes Spectre able to close gaps. Even with the phase boots, she is a very slow hero. So it's very hard for her to chase. So I actually think that's a really good option for this particular matchup.
Meanwhile, OguraYui trying to take this tier 1 tower. Fortification used. It's just outside of deny range. Actually, that last catapult hit, the siege creep hit. Oh, this is going to be a little bit of a duel to see if they can get this deny. We do have a TP in coming from the Clockwork. No hook shot, though. He used it on the missed attempt on the TA. And Jakiro tries to get away, but Shauna, already Shockwave, is starting to deal good damage, especially followed up by the Soul Assumption. ZZZ haunting in once again. Here they go on Will. The lift up. YZB in a lot of trouble. Actually, will he get another Soul Assumption off? No. But TA trapped in here with Clockwork Inspector. She's actually still alive, just in meld form. They're going to try to use the Battery Assault, I think, to do some damage. No. TA doesn't walk away from this. No way. Will she? The Spectral Dagger to clean it up. Nice Ice Path splitting the wickets, but Will, now being chased by ZZZ again, does get a lot of movement speed from that max rank Spectral Dagger. And that's a double kill for Spectre with a TP to get out if she wants to. If she even wants to. 290 now. Ice Path and Dual Breath. I think the last hit. Oh, disconnect.
Oh, Dreamy's dead. Dreamy's dead. He's not making curses on him.
Dreamy will die. Yeah, that last tick of the Curse of the Silent will almost certainly pick off that Phantom Lancer, even as she tries to chase down the Spectre.
And I also think 290 is dead. I think Shauna's going to get the last right click off, but...
Definitely. I think it's in flight. There's also that tower hit is going on the Clockwork.
Yeah, that tower is actually probably going to get the kill before Shauna will.
He does have a... Actually, he has the bottle in progress, but I doubt it.
I don't think it's going to heal enough. It's... Let's see, you're looking at maybe a half a second here. Tower hits for 110 damage. He resists 21% of that, so he takes like 9 damage. Maybe if you had a full second, he would be able to live. But then you also have Shadow. And Magic 6 on cooldown.
I think Clockwork's dead, but I think overall especially after they get that first death on Dreamy, they're very happy with this fight. And both of these haunts so far have kind of caught Ogura flat-footed. They haven't been able to deal with the entrance of the Spectre. And this is really the power of the get phase boots, Poor Man's Shield drums Spectre build. It just comes online. I mean, online for some variations of online, but it's kind of like a Nature's Prophet. Sure, it doesn't do a tremendous amount, but it does enough to tip the scales of a fight in certain situations.
Yeah, basically she turned that 4v4 that was happening on bot between wHut and Ogura into a 5v4, and being that +1 is huge. And because of that, this is going to be a 3-for-2 trade instead of maybe a 2-for-2 or even a 3-for-1 in favor of Ogura instead of wHut here.
Clockwork lives!
Oh, Shauna.
Clockwork lives, and Shauna probably dies. The Spectral Dagger. ZZZ wants a triple! That's a big deal. Even if they lose Silencer, which they do, they get Spectre out of there and Clockwork. And it is a support Silencer. It's actually okay. Plus, he was killed by the Radiant. I don't think anybody got the AoE XP or gold for that.
No, no one got that, and that's still 6 int going the way of Silencer. So he actually stole 2 int from...
hang on 1 second.
Oh.
No, go ahead and continue. Somebody's at my door.
Hmm?
Alright, sorry, I'm back.
Alrighty. I had no idea what was going on. I just kind of stopped speaking for a second.
I'm sorry about that. That's totally my fault.
I was like completely confused, but...
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought I said just take over. Sorry about that.
I heard hold on for a sec, and...
Oh. Sorry about that. Alright, so... no, it's totally my fault. We haven't actually even seen an RP this game, interestingly enough. Will we see one now? Haha, yes we do. Locking down Will, this Rubik drops incredibly quickly. No time to steal it if he even wanted to, and 365 just saying ... Maybe not impressed by his teammates using that RP.
No, but Global Silence is up, and that's going to be a big tide turn here. It's going to make Jakiro, Darkseer, and Rubik very, very useless in these upcoming fights. And it's not like a short thing either. And frankly, and I would... Oh my god.
Ooh, 2 disconnects. And another ... Oh, actually, 3 down. I wonder if they're on a LAN environment. That's what that looks like.
Man, it's like... Chinese Dota internet's almost as bad as Peruvian Dota internet today. DC's everywhere.
Is that par for the course for Peruvian?
I don't know. Arctic was having some serious connection issues.
Oh, were
today.
they? That's too bad.
That's why I'm just saying Peruvian, because Peruvian Dota.
Yeah.
Too strong.
What's your take on this game right now, Press?
What's definitely very much in charge in it, and it comes down to the Spectre pick. provided they can get more farm Inspector. Inspector is well on the way to a decently timed Diffusal Blade or grabbing that Drums right now. I feel like the Diffusal Blade is going to have a little bit higher impact at the moment.
Sure.
Give her a much better chase with that very powerful Purge Slow. And, our illusions do a lot more damage as well. So,
I guess my concern is I feel like there's 3 effective farmers on Ogura right now. They've got Darkseer for teamfight items like Mechanism, he's actually almost done with the Mechanism, only about 500 gold away. Then they have the Templar Assassin who's farming quite well, even with the 1 death. Looks like he's going for a quick Yasha. And then the Phantom Lancer, of course, already more than halfway, or a little less than halfway to the Diffusal, but getting there. Whereas wHut really just have Spectre and nothing else.
Yeah, they can sort of back up on the mag, but the problem is when they run a support silencer, you're not really going to get the most out of Silencer's toolkit. But it's hard to say. If they can get Silencer and keep him alive enough in these fights, it's possible that they can rely on him as a secondary damage source.
Yeah, honestly, Silencer, a hero with tremendous late game upside, but right now the upside he provides is basically just the global silence and the occasional last word. I mean, we're talking about him level 6 with Boots, Wand, and Smoke of Deceit, so nowhere near that semi-carry role. If they could develop him into that, that would be one thing. And one thing that I do like for wHut is that their level band is a little bit tighter. For Ogura, you have these 3 heroes at level 8, but then Rubik and Jakiro are really struggling, whereas on wHut, everyone has their ultimates. The Familiars are up. The reverse polarity, obviously they just used it, but it's available. And ZZZ is level 9.
Yeah, that's going to be really huge in upcoming team fights as well, mostly because without the spell Steal on Rubik really doesn't contribute much to these fights other than, a Fade Bolt and maybe a good Telekinesis stun, but it's not going to be on the same level of like stealing an RP and doing the IX Mike Waddle.
IX Mike Waddle. I like that.
Hey, that's the title of the video. I didn't name it.
Oh, I didn't actually see that video. That's pretty fun.
It's like IX Mike waddles to victory. It's like he steals the RP and just walks. And gets a 4-man
yeah,
RP.
I have seen the video. I forgot the title. Yeah, good call.
But yeah, it's the IX Mike waddle. You can. That's how Rubik rolls, man.
Sure. Until he gets blink, and then he scoots, or force staff for that matter.
I don't know. I feel like waddling is still like the best term.
Oh, he definitely, his walking animation is unquestionably a waddle. I agree with you there. But I honestly feel if wHut feel like they have an advantage, maybe they should seek to press it a bit. And they are going to attempt that. They smoke. They've got this global silence available. No RP, but they do have hook shots. So if they can get an incursion into this jungle, if they could get wHut again, that would, in my opinion, actually secure the early game in their favor. Right now, I still feel like Ogura mostly happy with at least the amount of farm. There's the hook shot. Lands on Will. The global silence a little bit early, but they do pick off this Rubik extremely quickly. The haunt in from Spectre actually gets fought from wHut quite a bit already. Jukes into the trees. There's the dual breath as well. YSY still up, and in fact, this gank may be over. The Cogs place just to warn off Zex Bingo from coming in. The first familiar already falls. The stun comes out though. Phantom Lancer taking a lot of damage. Ice Path from Jakiro. There is the Spectral Dagger just to get Spectre on out of here. It's 365 meanwhile fishing, trying to get a kill, and Ogura are low but unkilled. In the end, it's just a Rubik for the use of the global silence, and they were probably expecting a little more.
Yeah, also, Spectre got herself stuck in the trees again for a while. That was kind of funny. But definitely better to be stuck in trees than dead. And
it is.
Had she been outside instead of in the trees, she probably would have been dead. And frankly, I do think for wHut, the best way to press their advantage is to keep playing these forward protect one style strat and just create as much space for ZZZ to farm. And
sure.
The problem is, as much as ZZZ is getting out of these early team fights, she doesn't have any items to support it.
Yeah, the farm is behind. Spectre now, with the amount of haunting that the hero's been doing, she now has less last hits than the 3, I want to say called the 3 cores of Ogura. The Darkseer, the TA, and the Phantom Lancer. Now all ahead on last hits. Darkseer, of course, due to the amount of jungling he was doing, especially on easy camps, he's behind on GPM, and also Spectre part of 7 kills, whereas Darkseer part of 0. But nonetheless, I mean, it's a situation where either you can farm the Spectre or you can take these team fights. But if you keep taking team fights and you only get 1 kill out of them, they end up not paying off, and your Spectre ends up falling behind. Currently still matching more or less pound for pound on net worth relative to the Phantom Lancer, but if he rockets ahead, especially after this Diffusal's completed and about 300 more gold, it's going to start being very troublesome.
I have no idea what ZZZ is up to. He's currently just sitting on a huge amount of gold. Generally, you don't need buyback this early.
I think I know what he's up to.
Is it going to be a Heart Rush?
Radiance?
I hope not.
Ooh, actually, my Dota just crashed completely to desktop. I'm so sorry, folks. I'll be right back into it. I just had a literal...
Oh, no. Oh, no. Well, the poor guys in Dota TV get to sit on your camera, which sits in the random jungle. Unless it, like, automatically switches to mine, which might be cool. Yeah, talking about it, Radiance could be in the cards for ZZZ, but I feel like that's an item that you got to get earlier if you really want to take the full advantage of that. Sort of like a 15-minute Radiance is what you want on Lone Druid. That doesn't change your Spectre. And on top of that, what was I going to say? I kind of mapped it out. Oh, TA gets a kill on bot lane when I wasn't paying attention.
Damn it.
No, it was mid lane. That's even worse. I didn't even know what lane that happened in.
Alright, so 1 kill I've missed so far by being offline.
We'll count them down.
Alright. God, I'm sorry about that, folks.
When you get back in, by the way, I'm going to use that overlay thing for the first time ever, just as a tally.
Oh, yeah, go for it.
Not that I have any actual stats besides how many kills you're missing.
Overlay is really neat, actually. It's a great feature.
Yeah, we need a stats man. That's what we need. Except I think Bruno is busy doing Alienware.
Yeah,
but the Diffusal Blade is done on wHut, and that's basically going to be a big tide turner for Ogura. They're going to be able to take bigger team fights this way. Hookshot onto Zex Bimbo. ZZZ haunting in, and that's basically instant death on Zex Bimbo with 1, 2, 3 getting the kill with the Shockwave. Taking a little bit too far in, but gets a 3-man RP. Big hit. Shockwave more damage. That's what was stolen. Shockwave was stolen, but ZZZ taking lots of damage. Gonna actually take a dive here. YSY putting out tons of damage, trying to get into final blood on poor ZZZ there. 1, 2, 3 does have a haste rune chasing after YSY. YSY is going to pop Surge and run away. Meanwhile, we're going to see Will and wHut pop up a little bit behind him, trying to make something happen, and actually it's going to be 1, 2, 3 backing off, grabbing a DD on his way out.
And that's the problem for wHut here, I think, is that each subsequent team fight that they take is they're getting less and less out of it. The last time they got 1 kill for 0, this time they trade 1 for 1 and lose Spectre. And so can they keep doing these team fights? Is this just a matter of if we execute a little better, we'll dominate? Or should they try to back off and develop more?
Well, that's the glorious thing about Spectre. They can do both.
Sure.
But the problem is that they want to make these team fights. I think ZZZ's got to be a little bit less twitchy about the haunt. I think she came in way too early. Had she come in instead with the RP timing, that would have been a lot better. So yeah. I do think it comes down to timing, and I do think the Radiance... I kind of did like the math out. At a certain attack speed value, the Diffusal Blade just does so much more.
The farm, though. The Radiance helps far more. And if she tries to...
This is true. But it's like you're not going to be able to compete with farm, even with the Radiance, to that Phantom Lancer.
That's true, and maybe it's... No, I mean, you're right. Maybe it's just a matter of, even if she doesn't keep up on farm, she wants to be close enough that the Spectre will be able to contest the PL. But yeah, the Diffusal definitely the higher DPS option for TPing in, and there's really no... Well, TA could go for Blink, but that isn't really what the route that this TA has been going. Zex Bingo caring much more about BKB and maybe a Manta style eventually. Ogura, meanwhile, really seeking to chase ZZZ. If they could get another kill on the Spectre, it would be great. But they don't find it. They're still smoked up. Meanwhile, 365 really suffering to this Diffusal Blade. In fact, wHut just picks up a solo kill easily here. And YZB coming in to reinforce, but could be the victim of the tail end of the smoke gank. There's the Spirit Lance already slowed. Nice stuns from the Visage Familiars. A defensive cogs used by 290. YZB trapped inside the cogs, inside a Macropyre. And that'll be at least one familiar cleaned up by Zex Bingo. So they earn 2 kills. And the familiar, and that sets them... I think Ogura feel extremely good right now. They're going to push into the tier 1, and can wHut really stop them? What is to be done by wHut here?
Man, you're just making so many of these what puns today, aren't you?
Oh, there's the Magnus. Big RP on 3. The cogs to lock in the global silence. What is to be done? Indeed, they took one down. Is it actually enough, though? Ogura seeks to walk away all low, but all alive. ZZZ wasn't able to mop that up. Can they even get YSY? YZB pushed back. The soul assumption onto DreamyU, but Zex Bingo actually kills ZZZ in the back. This fight seemed so good. The RP seemed so good, and they just still can't make it happen. TA is starting to ball out of control. Gets a triple before finally falling to the damage of the silencer and the familiars. That RP, man, I thought it was going to turn it, and they just didn't have the damage.
I would like to point out, had Spectre had a defusal blade, that would have been a triple kill for Spectre instead of her dying.
Maybe.
Well, actually, like, it was literally that, because Phantom Lancer, DreamyU was getting away with 12 health.
Right.
And even 1 or 2 defusal hits would have been more than enough to get the kill.
Sure.
Same for YSY as well. They all barely get away. Wolf would actually have probably died as well, because then with DreamyU dead and YSY dead, Desolate would be activating on Will. So it's...
And Defusal deals a separate instance of damage, right? So it's two instances of refraction peeled off for each melee.
I will actually have to check the logs for this.
I believe it should, because Purge is... I'm pretty sure Purge is a separate instance of damage, but I'm not 100% sure. At any rate, yeah, I agree. I gotta agree with you, Alprez. I usually don't want to like say like this item choice is wrong, but it's hurting them because of the things they're trying to do. They're trying to get these good team fights to keep up with a Phantom Lancer that himself has Defusal. And it's going poorly for them, I think, partially because they don't have that development. And here's Alprez disconnecting. I don't know what the deal is, folks, but the connectivity of the network is just... What's up?
That was totally my bad. I wanted to go with the combat log, and I disconnected for that.
Did you disconnect or leave?
I got crashed.
Oh. Well.
I regret everything.
We're good. We are going to have an unpause in just a second, folks. We had a disconnect from one of the wHut players. In fact, the Magnus. For a brief moment, I was terrified that he quit in disgust at the RP not paying off. But honestly, it was good. It was a good RP. You can't blame him for that. They just kind of lacked enough follow-up. And I agree, Spectre, one way or another, even if she ends up building the Radiance, it has to come out soon, or it's going to start being a serious problem that they really lack the tools to do much in these fights. I mean, just look at their item loadout. Not a single one of these players has a single item that matters. Like, it's all just stuff like part of a mechanism, and a stout shield, and a poor man's, and some tier 2 boots. Whereas, for Ogura, you have so many business items. You have the Defusal, the mechanism, the Yasha.
Yeah, and you're already looking at some bigger items coming out the pipe for TA, especially. The BKB is almost done. And that's actually going to reduce the damage of Spectre pretty substantially. Dispersion and Desolate both being pure damage, they do get blocked by BKBs as a result.
Yeah.
But big item picked up by 1, 2, 3.
There's the blink, but 1, 2, 3 in immediate trouble. Skewer is going to try to get out of here, but he unfortunately skewered the Darkseer closer to him, which means no blink dagger, which means a kill for Ogura.
Yeah, that's definitely not good, and we're seeing that Ogura are starting to turn this game around. And it's definitely coming in handy that they have this PL. PL has been doing very well farming up this lane, but...
Dust up on PL, but they can't follow it. They just don't have enough.
I don't know if this is a casual Vipe booster or if he's planning on going all the way on the heart. It's hard to say right now.
He could go Vipe booster and then into Yasha and then finish the heart. There's a lot of routes that he can go, but Ogura, honestly... I wouldn't even say they necessarily turned it. At this point, I feel like they're fairly comfortably in the lead. They now smoke.
Bot lane.
Oh, actually, yes, they find out DreamyU, but he's fighting. He might well take 365 simply because of the danger of the Defusal Blade. And ZZZ trying to counter this, trying to do enough damage to the Phantom Lancer. He is out of mana completely, and Doppelwalk's not up. Curse of the Silent is ticking down in the Spectral Dagger, so I think ZZZ can get the kill here. So, yeah, it's a kill on DreamyU, probably traded for the Silencer. That's a trade that you're happy to take as wHut. And then I think after that, it's ZZZ just has to play safe enough to finish that Radiance. After you get the Relic, you are completely committed to that item. So finish it as quickly as you can. Try to cut the gold per minute gulf between you and the Phantom Lancer, and you and the Templar Assassin, who we're starting to see him start to get out of control.
Yeah, Dreamy's actually not going to get the kill on 365. I just looked at his movement speed, 274 versus 350. He's not going to close that gap. So this could be for complete knot here for DreamyU.
Yeah. If she doesn't manage to actually score a kill, this is an unfortunate loss. It's trying to build towards her heart that will cut into the actually not that much unreliable gold on her, but she's going to lose almost all of it from this death. And level 13, that's 50 seconds on the ground. That's a lot of time. You're not building heart or Yasha if you wanted it. Meanwhile, of course, I like this amount of warding that Ogura are doing top. I like the smoke, but it's very, very far away from any sort of business end on the part of wHut. They're not going to be that scared of that smoke coming in.
I have no idea what we're paused. I really wish I could read Chinese.
I'll ask.
But what is up? What is going down?
What is up indeed? What do you think about wHut right now?
What I think about wHut? This could go. They're basically walking on a very fine line here. Yeah, here he goes. Dreamy does take a dive here and doesn't even get
big kill.
Poor 365 here, so that's a big kill.
Yeah, that's her second death now. Spectre only has 2 deaths herself, and if you just look at the KDA, you look like, wow, Spectre is dominating this game, but unfortunately, it's been harder and harder for ZZZ to find these kills.
Yeah, and it's definitely becoming a problem, mostly because Spectre isn't a hero that's good because she can get early kills. She's good because she can farm and get kills at the same time.
Rubik picks some soul assumption, a little bit of good extra burst damage.
wHut's gonna die here.
Wow, wHut. That's a bold move coming in there. He does still have Surge, so it's hard for ZZZ to actually just outright kill him.
He almost died, though. Like, had he stuck around even, like, 2 or 3 seconds longer, he would have died.
Right.
And that's just... You cannot underestimate Desolate damage.
No, you absolutely can't. So it's 65 pure, especially once the attack speed of Spectre starts getting boosted as she levels. Still not... I mean, her agility gain is actually pretty atrocious for a hard agility hero. But she can start getting things like Butterfly much later on that will really improve that attack speed situation.
Yeah, Mantis-style Butterfly. These are all standard items for a Spectre. Of course, also pretty standard is Heart, just because you also do a lot of damage via Dispersion.
Right. But I don't know if she actually will go Heart here. Well, actually, maybe. Honestly, it's an option to go straight after the Radiance. You already have some of your damage. Just go tank ability. But I'm not sure that's a race that you want to be in with Phantom Lancer.
No, you really don't want to compete with Phantom Lancer in terms of farm. Even with Radiant, Spectre will not beat Dreamy in terms of farm speed. And depending on what Dreamy's next item could be, this could really affect how wHut performs and what items they pick in the upcoming minutes. Mostly because if it's a Heart on Dreamy, wHut are done. I really can't imagine a way that they're going to be able to clear through these illusions with that Heart fast enough.
I wouldn't say they're necessarily done. They do catch wHut out. He is completely... What a nice vacuum taking to the outside, but finally they do manage to pick him off. A lot more effort than they wanted to expend on that. In fact, they even used the global silence just to secure that solo kill on a Darkseer. So, a lot of effort, and I don't think now they can really comfortably gank, simply because of... They used Haunt, they used Hookshot, which doesn't matter as much, and they used global silence. All for a Darkseer.
Yeah, not worth it in terms of cooldowns. Those are abilities that you want to be using in a bigger team fight.
Oh, they've caught out 1, 2, 3. They see him with the Sentry Ward. He's going to drop dramatically. And Templar Assassin notching another kill to her bedpost. Actually, ZZZ in a bit of trouble here. Nice cogs, locking in ZX Bingo for a little bit, but he just pops his BKB and goes to work. 365 going down. The Ice Path catches out YZB. He's next to fall. And that's 4 down for wHut? Out of almost nothing. I mean, they just hung around without their big teamfight ultimates, and Ogura mopping them up. The cleaning crew coming in now looks to clean up Roshan, and TA, an excellent Roshan killing hero.
Yeah, and this is going to be a very, very, very fast Rosh, and they're probably going to give the Aegis, I would imagine, back to Dreamy. Dreamy is probably looking at picking up a Heart. I can't imagine any other reason why he's sitting on this much gold. Right? Unless he's going for a Butterfly.
I think she's probably going to get that Heart. I agree.
Yeah, I would imagine the Heart canceled the TP. That's weird.
Although, with the Aegis, maybe just straight Manta isn't a bad option either.
Yeah, Manta's always a strong option as well. It's hard to say. These all give like small amounts of tank, which is pretty important. It's debatable what Phantom Lancer goes for here. Too many options. That's Phantom Lancer's greatest weakness. What items do I want?
There's a couple other weaknesses, but that certainly is a relevant one.
Yeah, just like Earthshaker. Earthshaker alone is a huge weakness.
Sure. And this BKB for Zex Bingo already making a huge difference in the first fight that he deployed it in. I mean, TA was just able to run right in there, fearless, and just really take apart wHut with the major damage put out by that meld and refraction combination. And now she's hanging on to another 3k gold, so her next item not far off.
I really hope her next item is another Desolator. Stack up that armor reduction. They already did it to win. Armor reduction has been winning games here. That's not even a joke. Every team with the armor reduction strat has won. and incidentally, the same way you can put it, any team that picks Alchemist wins.
Sure. That has been true.
In this set.
Yes, in this set.
All right, I forgot to do this. Now I gotta use this.
The global silence. YSY, he's actually already surged even before the silence hits, so another unsuccessful global silence. Oh, I see, you meant the overlay. Alright.
That overlay.
That's really unfortunate, though, honestly. Using global silence once again, and now Ogura can operate without any fear that that global silence will come down crashing on their heads for another 2.5 minutes. And you immediately see them taking a more aggressive, more assertive posture just in response to that usage of the silence, because you always know when it's used. You cannot hide that you use global silence. You simply have revealed yourself, and he finally finishes Mechanism at 27 minutes, but that is a poor substitute.
Yeah, I really don't know how wHut are going to respond right now. Phantom Lancer is reaching critical mass, and we're already seeing that TA is incredibly farmed. And yes, I called it. Desolator is on the way.
Yeah, that's very smart. I think it's a good pickup to try to close this out, get some more burst damage as well as tower pushing capability. Here's the cogs. They just want to keep Zex Bingo away, but he clears out both of the familiars in one hit. Does YZB have the resummon? Not for 15 seconds. And this Visage is really stalled out on levels as well. He's the lowest level on the map. Level 2 familiars is actually a huge deal for Visage, and I'm not sure that he'll ever hit them at this rate.
Yeah. Well, I'm like reaching those levels of exhaustion that happen when you're up for like 20 hours.
Fair enough.
But I will make it till the end of this match. But we do see that the Desolator is done. The Heart is almost done in Phantom Lancer as well, and that's going to give basically a huge sustain to Ogura, and he's going to probably... I really hope Dreamy sells the Tranquil Boots out right after, because I've forgotten to do that sometimes.
Oh, hookshot only goes to a creep. Actually, no, goes to a Phantom Lancer illusion. A hookshot, it's okay to use it. I mean, it doesn't spend that much time. We do have 290 building the Aghanim Scepter, so this will give one hookshot every 12 seconds for this clockwork, but I'm just concerned. I feel like wHut are losing grip on the game. Spectre really needs to just farm tremendously to even have a shot at this point, and ZZZ behind schedule for the Heart relative to Phantom Lancer, who in fact has it as of right now, just has to be delivered.
Yeah, ZZZ is in also the awful boat that is no diffusal blade, which means her actual damage output's really low. And the Heart is nice and all, right? It makes her dispersion that much more effective. But there's no reason right now that Ogura have to even bother attacking ZZZ. She just doesn't put out that much damage. At least assuming Ogura are all kind of grouped up.
Sure. And here comes a smoke gank from wHut. They're going to try to make something happen, because they really need to. They understand that they're under the gun, but the Heart has been delivered. How do they actually win this team fight, even with the element of surprise, which they're quickly losing? If they had any element of surprise remaining, it was dispelled when that rocket came in from stage right. Another familiar comes in. They land a stun on Dreamy. Maybe to try to make something happen. The curse was silent, but 365 already in a lot of trouble. There's the global silence. They have to make something happen now. The dust popped out. Nice trap with the cogs. Actually, Ogura, lots of their heroes falling, but there's the wall. There is the response RP. And wHut are dropping quickly now. Already 2 down for Ogura, but ZZZ He can't make it out. DreamyYu lives through the fight with just a tiny amount of HP. She will preserve her Aegis and her heart. Reclaimed in a minute, so might as well jump back in as far as I'm concerned. While Zex Bingo, once again, the cleanup crew. Here comes DreamyYu, dealing a tremendous amount of damage. The lift from Will, and that was a huge RP steal in that fight, frankly. Leads to the complete wipe of wHut, and in fact, maybe the wiping out of wHut in this series. They played well, but in the end, Ogura, DreamyYu, honestly, I am very impressed with this player. She was impressive standing in for Rising Stars and really just effective carry play in all 3 games.
I would like to mention waddling to victory has continued on, but that was, yeah, no, very, very impressive. Being able to steal that RP, sitting. What was impressive about it is that we just saw such patience coming out of Will. Not the same patience that was coming out to kill Seal, but like he was sitting way back here when Mag was trying to do the RPs down here. So he knew that when the RP goes off, it would be very easy to walk in, steal that RP, and then turn it around on them. And that was a huge steal. Definitely won the fight for them. And it kept Phantom Lancers alive as well.
Yep.
Alright, sell your Tranquils. You have a heart. Tranquils doesn't do anything for you anymore.
No, hang on to the Tranquils forever.
No, that's like even the worst idea, because when Tranquils break, you're a sad
You are very slow.
Lancer.
It's true. TA finishing the Yasha finally made into a Mantis style now, and that's the other thing. TA has just been racking it up. She's now at highest net worth. I mean, TA, Zex Bingo, by virtue of being 12, 3, and 5, a similar score to what he had last game, is ahead of the Phantom Lancer on net worth. That's a fast Diffusal Blade Phantom Lancer. That's how well Zex Bingo has been playing in these second and third games. Just really just lifting his team, and in both games, giving DreamyYu the opportunity to get all of her farm, simply by virtue of the TA being a more pressing issue to deal with. And ZZZ pushed farther away from his heart in that fight. Now just try to farm up that jungle, get back up to that status, and without the heart, I don't think they can even take another fight.
Yeah, I do think that's going to be true for the most part. And the problem just comes down to the fact that there's not a lot of armor on ZZZ either. So, oh, hook shot. Friendly hook shot. Never mind. I thought he was hooking onto an enemy, but 290 actually just hooks onto ZZZ to get out.
Smart. It was in danger. But, yeah, Hookshot actually, he's pretty close to Aghanim Scepter, only about 500 gold off. Thing is, he may have to try to preserve buyback as well. ZZZ, meanwhile, at this point, counter-pushing the name of the game. If they can try to split push and keep OguraYui off of their tier 3s, off of their barracks, that might be their last best hope to make sure that the Spectre is able to catch up. Once they get stuck inside of their base, once they can no longer leave their base, Spectre is screwed to catch up. She still needs a lot of items. So, doing this split push, trying to force OguraYui back, actually succeeding there, is exactly what the Doctor ordered for wHut at this point.
Yeah, and here's the problem. Spectre builds the exact same items as a Phantom Lancer will. Literally the exact same items. They don't build any different items. But Phantom Lancer just gets so much more of the same items.
Diffusal, ZZZ taking a lot of damage. He does make it out, and a skewer to the low ground. Very well done by 1-2-3. Both of them will escape, and thank goodness, because if they want to get this Spectre in the game, a death there would have been the worst possible thing.
Yeah, and every time you die, of course, it's important that you lose gold, but the most important part is you lose a lot of farming time as well, especially at this point in the game. Right. At 4 seconds, a level that you stay dead, at level 18, you are out of the fight for 64 seconds.
Yep.
That's
actually a hook shot. 290 coming up way forward, but is he out of position here? The ice path to clip him. Zex Bingo ready with the meld strike. 290, he has used Ghost Scepter. He's walking back in, sitting in the Macropyre actually. Global Silence comes out. Shauna taking a lot of damage, but already 2 on the ground. There's 365, 3 dead, Visage down, 4 dead. Spectre doing his best to at least get some kills here. Probably gets Rubik. That is a double kill for Spectre, but now slowed down by the TA. Willie Spectral Dagger to the high ground. No! Another kill. And that is what cleaned up once again. Still no hard on Spectre. No buyback for 2 minutes. In fact, what is the buyback status in general? No buyback on Magnus. No buyback on Spectre. They used this to prevent the high ground earlier, or at least prevent the Raxing, and I don't think they can prevent it again. DreamyYu, the army of Phantom Lancers, has pierced it. They're going to the Raxes, and what called GG, a very respectable performance, but they do go down 2-1 to OguraYui, looking very solid indeed, and going to an early lead in the group, one step behind Rattlesnake, playing for that second slot in the ECL Group D group stage. Thank you guys so much for watching. This is RedBull ECL coverage by Beyond the Summit 2. This is the end of this series. It was casted by Vickerman and El Presidente. El Presidente will not be joining me for the next series. He's going to get some much-needed rest after being awake for 21 hours. El Prez, let's talk about your Twitter. Let's talk about your Twitch. Promote yourself.
All right, my Twitter is @ElPrezDota. I now have followers, so I now tweet. I believe I made that comment before. My Twitch, however, is not used often, as I usually just go from tournament stream to tournament stream, so don't worry too much about that. You can find me @ElPrezDota, and you can follow me there. And that's pretty much all I got.
All right, well, thank you so much for co-casting today. I hope you had fun. This is actually a pretty good series.
I know this was actually a very impressive play. I know these aren't the top tier games, but I do feel like these are of relative equal skill, so it always makes better games, even at lower tier games, to see equal skill players play. So both sides can really just kind of showcase their talents.
Yep, I totally agree. I love watching these close games like this, even if the teams don't play maximum level Dota. I think there was a lot of impressive play. DreamyU, a very promising carry player. Zex Bingo really dominating on the Templar Assassin. And honestly, that comeback that they had in Game 1 was was really something to watch as well. That's probably the game of the series so far. Thanks for watching, folks. I, of course, am Vickermond. You can check me out Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and my website, VYKROMOND. We will resume actually extremely soon because this series went the full length, so I will be right back in just a few minutes, folks, with the next series. I can't remember which teams are playing, but you will see it on stream in just a second. Thanks for watching. See you in a bit.